she's phenomenal. To be able to take on the task that we asked her to do coming into this championship is monumental. And then for her to win the 100, get nipped in the long jump, to be runner-up in the 2, I wish we had 10 more like her.
After the short relay, did you feel the need to talk to your athletes? And if you did, what did you say?
I did not talk to them. I just talked to the ones that had to continue to compete. Talked to Raven, talked to Jenna, talked to Molly. Those kids that were still having to compete, saying don't hang your heads. There's more track meet to go.
Did you play a role in crafting a race plan for Raven?
Probably a little bit, yes.
Yeah. Well, who's done that before? Had you prompted her that may well happen?
Well, the good thing about this meet here is you get a chance to see how it's going to kind of play on the men's version of it. Now, of course, it's the women competing there, but it kind of plays out in the same format. It's the same time frame, it's the same rest, same conditions there. So you get to just kind of look and watch and kind of tweak some things here or there. But it's kind of almost the same game plan, same race strategy that she used in the prelims, just a little more aggressive.
In your concluding comments yesterday, you talked about the men's win, and it was special against the backdrop of the legacy and the heritage of this program. How does this stack up with the legacy on the women's side?
This one is special because we've been closer on this one for a long time. We can go all the way back to 2010, I think, when they were third or something like that. So we've been second, and so to be able to finally break through and get this one in is really special for our program.
For you personally, waking up this morning, having just won the men's team title, but knowing you still had a long way to go for the women's team title, how'd you deal with that?
Let me say one thing about this, the format. One bad thing about this format is it will shorten the coach's life expectancy for sure. To come from a high of yesterday and winning, and then coming from a low to start the championship, it was one of those things to where we kind of rallied as coaches and be like, hey, we talk about the ebbs and flows, now let's make sure that we hold true to that statement there and not get too down and be upbeat and positive for the kids.
Did you celebrate it all last night?
TV coverage. We heard you talk about that. I don't know if you were talking about that again, what that does for the sport.
Yeah, to be live like that, we're probably in some households that we've never been before. And so basically it becomes a broader appeal for track and field. And if that helps someone get a scholarship to go to college in track, the format is awesome.
In the Tuesday press conference, when you were asked about the format, you said there were a lot of promises that were made. You said if the promises were made, this will be great. If the promises weren't made, it's going to be bad. So we're now after the meet. What do you say?
Probably a little too early to tell because you have to kind of see the following and the momentum of build to it. But you know, I would assume we're still in a wait and see stage. But what you will see, it'll probably, if they continue to keep it this way, change how you do business as far as your recruiting and how you set up your programs, because it is tough for the sprinters, and if you're one-dimensional, then it becomes a little more difficult to come here and compete. You have to have a full team, and that's something that we've been priding ourselves on for a long time. We do it all across the board. We're not just distance, we're not just sprints, we do it in the throws, we do it in the jumps, we do it in the hurdles, we score everything. I think one of the most overwhelming stats coming in here is for us to have 22 and 23 competitors, both men and women, at the meet, and have all of the disciplines covered except for 3. We're a balanced program.
Robert, Raven talked about having a
100 kid. You said you were down after the 4x1.
I thought the number before I got here was 58. That was the number. Texas A&M had an ability to get to 65 if they did everything perfect. And so it hurt a little bit because I thought that's how we were going to get to those mid-50s there, was that 4x1 there. I figured we'd get to 50 and then the 4x1 would kick us somewhere 56, 57, somewhere in there. So I'm planning on us being third or better there in the 4x1, and so to get DQ'd and not get a 0 points was definitely heartbreaking.
Just a few more, guys.
Robert, Raven talked about writing down her goals last August and how kind of odd that felt, and they were pretty lofty goals. How did you feel when you saw them?
Raven is a shy type to be, and maybe that's just her being a freshman, and so it takes a while to get her to kind of open up. But
They were pretty lofty goals.
She had some very ambitious goals, but if anybody knows the background of history of Raven Rogers, she's an age group phenom. You know, she's doing a lot of things. She was here competing at the World Juniors. She also played on one of her championship basketball teams there as well. So it just shows you the overall athleticism of Raven Rogers. So she could be on the hard court if she so chose to be.
I hate that. Make you repeat what you probably already answered, but walking out of here with 2 championships. What is that?
It's awesome. It's awesome. You can't put it in describe it into words. You know how we're feeling on the inside. You know, we put in a lot of work to get to this point, and so for us to be able to achieve it here in front of the Hayward-Field faithful, outstanding.
What will you do to celebrate?
Say it again.
What will you do to celebrate?
What would I do to celebrate? Oh gosh. Probably take a shower, get out of these yeah, a cold one at that.
2 of them.
Get out of these wet clothes, and then probably just try to unwind and digest. Sit down and take a breath. You know, these championships are kind of hard fought, and you get a whole gamut of emotions. And so, on the men's side, I wasn't able to go to sleep. So I'm probably operating on a couple hours of sleep, on and off.
Because you were happy, or because you were worried about today, or both? Or
both. Happy because you're wired, and then worried because you got work to do. So that's that whole life life shortened the thing that we talked about earlier.
One more if you have it.
Coach, you mentioned the fans earlier. Can you just talk about the boost that Hayward gives you and what that does with the athletes?
You know, there's lots of talk about how it's unfair, or it's a home field advantage, or if it's what. You know, I don't know if those things are true or not. I know that we go other places and we compete, and we continue to take that Hayward-Field magic with us on the road, and we do well there as well. So, you know, our fans are faithful, and the one thing I think people miss sometimes is they cheer for everybody. You know, if you guys go back and look at Marcus Dendy there on the long jump and triple jump runway, those were some unbelievable roars that they gave that guy, and he deserves every last one of them. And if you look at Andre DeGrasse there from SC, every bit of those roars that he got was well deserved. And so I think that it's probably a little unfair because we're knowledgeable enough to where they cheer for good performances no matter what uniform you're wearing.
All right, thanks, guys.